Okay, guys, this is section 1 dash practice. We'll just call it that. Lesson 1 dash practice. Because based on what I've seen so far, we need to put the things we've been learning into practice. The tests aren't quite getting the point across, so I want to modify my schedule, and instead of going through our normal go to the next section, go to the next section, we're going to take this back and apply it because this is supposed to replace what you do in the classroom. You would be learning all of this by playing your instrument. You should know some of this, but if you don't, this is how we're going to learn it. So, step 1 is we are going to switch over to lined paper. And we're going to do that because I want you to have a piece of paper. Pause the video and do that now. Okay, so because you're going to have a piece of paper, here's what I want you to do. To make a staff, do this. And all of a sudden my lines get a little more straight. You might want to put on my reading glasses, but in general, make things a little better here. Okay, so there. Now, you are going to practice several of these before your test. So the goal, depending on how the week goes, is that we are going to have a week or a week and a half of practice. You're going to do the lesson today is practice. Ask your questions in class today or tomorrow, whatever day this is that you're watching this. Then on Thursday and Friday, depending again on how the schedule goes this week, you're going to practice this in a formative assessment. And you'll do a show your work and everything, and I'll upload it, and you'll see it'll be really nice. So, in the meantime, I want you to draw your clef, okay? I'm going to draw a treble clef. Draw yours, whatever you play. Let's review. Flute, clarinet, trumpet, any saxophone, violin, all play treble, okay? Trombone, baritone, Kimberly and Danny, tuba, cello, and string bass all play bass clef. Viola plays alto clef. So, draw your clef. Okay, so there. Okay. Now, alto, bass, whichever. Now, draw your time signature. Each number of the time signature takes the top half and bottom half of the staff. So, today we're going to do 4-4 for our practice run. And we're going to modify the name of this to be 1-practice-A because there will be a second video for practice to show you one. And somebody's dinging me. But anyway, that'll be okay. All right, so what does this mean? Well, the 4 and the 4 tell us exactly what we mean. 4 tells us whole note gets 4 beats. Now, while you're learning this, here's what I want you to do. Draw your whole note, that equals 4. So the whole note equals 4, and the half note equals 2. And the quarter note equals, yes, 1. And if you didn't get 1, boo. Then the eighth note gets 1/2. Now, points of etiquette, which we will go over as we go through this. Etiquette means manners. In this case, we're using it for drawing. Stem to next letter. Okay? We're going to talk about the circle as well. Circle, full size. Because here's what some of you are going to do. And I'm going to draw an example so that you know. If I told you to draw a B on the treble clef, this is what you would draw. We actually talked about this in class. Some of you did this after I made a joke about you doing it. Okay, so that's not what you are going to do. All right, so in your first measure, draw a whole note. We're going to draw it right on B or your middle line. Draw it on your middle line, okay? Actually, no, correct that. Don't draw it on your middle line. Draw it on B. You're erasing right now. I know, it's okay. Okay, now, on top equals letter. So what letter is this? B. On bottom equals value. Now what value is this? How many bases a whole note get? Well, we know that. 4. Okay, now, I'm going to do this down here. Top number beats per measure. Now why are we doing this? Because that's 4 beats. So that's your whole measure done. You cannot do anything else. All right? So now we draw a bar line. Now, let's get creative in the next measure. Let's use 4 notes, 4 different letters, and see what we can come up with. All right? So let's see. Now this is where you get creative. You do whatever you want. I want you to do, in this case, though, half, quarter, and 2/8. Okay? That's what I want you to do. Now, having said that, here's how you do that. You can put yours anywhere you want. 1/2 note. Now watch where my stem goes. For those who read treble clef, that's down to the next D. And remember, it's above the middle line, so it points down. Okay, down. We're going to make quarter note. It goes up right there, just above the line, because that's the next G. And then we're going to do 2/8 notes. Okay, now we beamed these because that's how they're supposed to look when they're next to each other. The only time you see one with a flag if it's by itself. All right, now, a couple of things. And then I'm going to write a little note here to go over this. Okay, now, this is 4 beats. I know it doesn't look like it, but it is. Half note gets 2, quarter note gets 1, and each 1/8 note gets 1/2. Okay, now what letters are they? Whatever you wrote are the letters you wrote. D, G, C, and B. Why is this important to do this way? Because this is how you're going to show me that you know it on your next test. You're going to do 2 things. The first thing you're going to do is one of these, and then you're going to do a show your work question, informative, and you're going to create one of your own. I'll give you a staff and the clef, and you're going to do everything else. Okay? So, now let's look at our letters and see how we know what we got. Every good boy does. Fine. This spells face. All right, so D, G, C, B. Might help if I turn on the laser pointer, huh? Where's the laser pointer? Oh, that's in zoom. Crud. Oh, here we go. We got an arrow. Here we go. D, G, C, B. This is also a B. Okay? Now, how do we know the number of beats? Again, 2 for the half note, 1 for the quarter note, half and half. How did I get these? The whole note gets 4. The half note gets half of that, which is 2. The quarter note gets half of that, which is 1. The 1/8 note gets half of that, which is a half. Okay? We're going to do another one. Don't worry. Don't worry. I wouldn't do this to you if you didn't think you could handle it. All right? Now, look at the size of the circles. Okay? The line cuts right through the middle if it's on a line. See? And it's decent size to use all of the space. Okay? These 2 are actually a little small. In truth, it should look like this. Why? Because that's half of the space. That's a little wide, but I'd rather you look like this than do something like this. Okay? Don't do that. This will make room sad. Sad enough that I can't even draw a second eyeball. Okay? Alright, so we have all this. Stem goes to the next letter. Okay? That'll require you to learn your letter lines. I expect you to be practicing that, just as a little bit of a note. There's D, there's G, C, A. Okay? Now, I wrote this note for rest down here to remind us. Could we use a rest? Absolutely. We totally could. You could put any of these out for a rest. Okay? We're actually going to do that in the next one. All right? So I'm going to flip pages, and we're going to do another one. Hope you guys are doing okay and everything's good. As always, if you have questions, ask. It's the most important thing right now. Is to ask any teacher any questions you have. Okay, so you don't ever put a bar line at the beginning, by the way. It's open. Why? I don't know. Just tradition. I can hear some of you in 8th period going, tradition. Very good. Proud of you. Okay, draw you a big clef, and I want you to use the clef that you know. Use what you read in class. If you play that instrument, use that clef. Okay, just as a little side note, draw a big thick line for an alto clef, kind of like a reverse final bar. You do that. You do that. Bass clef's easy. Okay? And use your lines like you remember. Lines and spaces. You can always write it in. Just do what I do. Do I need this? No, but I've been doing this way longer than you, like twice your age. Okay? But do it if it helps. Okay? So, now, we're going to change one thing and keep one thing the same. We're going to go 6, 4. Okay? Make some notes down here. Use the space under it. You're going to have a lot of space. Use the space under it. Okay, so you got 6, 4. That means 6 beats per measure. Whole equals 4. And you can even go under that. Half equals 2. Quarter equals 1. Eighth equals 1/2. Okay? You may see a slightly different one on your test. And if you do, it will either be 2 or 8 on the bottom. Learn the values. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. So, let's get started. If you heard a snap, I have cats. I'm trying to keep them busy. All right, so, again, can we use a dot? Yes, we can. We might even try it. Can you use a rest? Yes. Okay, we're going to get creative on this one. I want you to see what you get capable of here. Now, your letters are your letters, but remember on the top is, did I put the letters on top? Yes, I did. Okay, it's been a long time since I've taught it this way. Letters, beats. Okay, all right, so let's start with a whole note, just because it's easy. Whole note, use a nice big one, and make sure it's halfway. You don't, now this is a side note, this is bad, this is bad, because that looks, you can't really tell where it goes, okay? So those are bad. Don't do that. Okay, how many beats is that? Well, that's 4. How do we know? Whole note, 4 on the bottom, gets 4 beats. Okay, but how many in per measure? 6. Right, so we have to find 2 more beats. Let's use a rest. And just to be creative, let's use a couple of quarter rests. Could we use a half rest? Of course we could. Do we want to? Yeah. Why bother? Half rests aren't very cool anyway. Quarter rest for the winner. I don't know. It's late. I'm tired. Okay, so let's do. That's a little small, but it'll get our job done for now. Let's make it a little bigger. Okay. Now remember, those are above the middle line, so you take them down to the next letter. You want to make sure you do that so they can be seen. That is beaming. Beamed eighths. Okay, you can beam up to 4. Do not beam more than 4 because that's a grouping thing, and I'll explain that much later in life. Okay, now we can add a half note here. And then let's go ahead and give the half rest some love. So you guys can see what it looks like. And then there's a half rest. And then we draw a bar line. Now, could you draw a final bar there? Yes, you absolutely could. Do you need to? Not really. That's okay. So, let's put in our letters. What letter is this? Second line. That's a G. Nothing. You put nothing here. You can put a dash. Better yet, just put an X. So we know that nothing goes there. All right. Now we have here on the fourth line, that's a D. D, 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 D. Okay. Now we have our first space, which is F. Then we have a rest. Okay. Now, our number of beats. 4, 1, 1. Why did it rest get 1 beat? Because a quarter gets 1 beat. Quarter note or quarter rest, same thing. Okay, so these I'll get, I have to modify a little. It should go right under it, but I put stuff there. 1/2 each, 2, and the half note gets 2, so the half rest gets 2. Why is this a half rest? Top of the middle line. Go back and review the one on rest. 1, 4B. 1, 4B. Okay? All right. This will be your test. You will fill in one here. So your first test will be to fill in across the top and the bottom. Okay? The beats and this. You'll get one of these already done. You'll get one done. And you have to fill this in and this in. Okay? Then your second one will be to make one. So you will get a blank staff. You will not have to fill in letters and numbers, but I will be looking for neatness. Okay? It may actually be 2 separate formatives, and you will have an assessment practice in your second class. We will go over this tomorrow or Wednesday, and then the next time I see you, you will have a test run. Test run of your test. That cracked me up. And then you will have your full assessment next week. Okay? Thanks to the holiday. If you have any questions, there will be a questions thread that I will have you leave in comments. And in the comments in Google Classroom, count on here. And again, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Hope this made it all come clear. And just as a point of order before we go, these are what? Measures. Staff is the whole thing. And these are your bar lines. Your clef goes here. Your time signature goes here. Hope all of that helped. Escoba signing off.